They've taken you off of the flight.
Yeah, they've taken me off the flight.
And then you're not allowed to fly.
No, they took my bag off the plane and I got escorted out the airport.
What?
So he goes to me, he was like, Mr. Wilson, just give me a minute. I just need to ring Washington, right? This is what he said. That's what he said.
That's cool.
I'm like, what the hell's going on here, right?
Have you ever been upgraded because of who you are? Have they ever recognised you?
Well, weirdly, right, like Emirates, like the pilot always come and has a chat with me before and tells me the weather and stuff. And then there's other flights I've been on. So like I'm banned from KLM. I'm blacklisted on KLM. So, but then like, oh yeah, I've got to tell you.
Can we ask why?
Right, I've got to tell you this, right? So I don't really drink. Like, I'll have the odd drink. If it's an occasion, I'll have a good time, no problem. I don't really drink. Right?
Yeah.
So when I flew to Argentina with Bald and Bankrupt and Harold Balder, right, we're like, they won't fly economy, but they won't fly business, sorry. They're like, no, we're going cheap, we're going cheap. But then the upgrade was only a little bit, and it was a 14-hour flight. I was like, come on, you're all being tight. Let's go in business. So then I booked business, so then they come in with me. So the three of us are in business, right? Harold brings a bottle of Fireball with him, right? Like this whiskey, whatever it is, right? So Bald and Harold start like doing shots on the plane, right? Not like going crazy. Yeah. And they weren't bad at all. We were just having a laugh. I didn't even have one drop. Right. Not one drop, right? Yeah. So then that was that. That was that, right? So that happened. Bald and Harold posted the video of them doing a shot of Fireball because you're not allowed to take your own alcohol on the plane and drink it on the plane or something.
Oh, right.
You can only have the alcohol. Anyway, that was that. When I flew to Argentina for the World Cup final, right? I was meeting Harold. We were both flying into Amsterdam, so KLM's Amsterdam or Holland Dutch Airlines. Yeah. We were both flying into Amsterdam, and then because he was flying from somewhere in Europe, I was flying from Manchester. We were meeting in Amsterdam, and then we were going to Argentina, right? We get to and this is in the video as well, like, well, parts of it are in the video, but you don't know the extent of this, right? So then I get to the check-in desk. Harold goes through fine. And she's like, oh, I need clearance to let you to fly. And I'm like, what? I'm like, me? And she's like, yeah. She said, it seems like you have an alcohol problem or something, right? And I was like, I don't even drink, right? I was like, what are you talking about? Then Harold's laughing his head off because it was him who did it and he had no problem, right?
How have they got that wrong?
So then they went, oh, we don't know if we can let you fly. And I'm like, sorry, what are you talking about? They went, oh, we're gonna have to speak to the captain. So I'm like, what is going on here? And then long story short, they take me to the plane. They literally security are with me, like waiting off the plane while people are boarding. Then the captain comes off and he's like, oh, hello, is it Mr. Wilson? I'm like, yeah, nice to meet you. I'm like, sort of like, what's going on here? He goes, we're not going to have any problems with you today, are we? And I went, no. I said, I've been flying for years. There's never been a problem. And he's like, have you been into the lounge before the flight? I'm like, yes. He went, have you had a drink in the lounge? I went, no. I went, no. And then he said, if we are going to let you fly today, he said, you'll have to sit at the front and we will not be able to give you any alcoholic beverages. I went, that's fine because I don't drink. And then he was like, they let me on the plane. I had to sit next to like an employee. Oh, mate, it was mental. So I'll never fly KLM again. I cancelled the return flight.
Did you?
Yeah, and flew a different airline back. I was like, I'm not having that. It was horrendous. It was horrendous.
Wow. Is that the worst flight you've ever had? Or have you... Because my next question was going to be, what's the worst flight you've ever had?
Well, there was a flight that I got banned from the US and Homeland Security took me off the plane. So that was... I didn't actually make the flight. So it wasn't the worst flight, but I suppose...
Do we know about this? Did you say about this before?
No. We need the story now.
I don't know if I don't think I told you about this. Okay, so obviously I'd been to North Korea and like Syria, Iraq, No, I hadn't been to Afghanistan at this point. I'd just been... I'd been to Iraq. Anyway, so me and my friend Nico, who does like watches on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Is he Pride and Pinion?
Yeah. Nico,
sick.
Great guy. Yeah, really good friends with Nico. We travel a lot, to be fair. And me and him were flying to Miami, right? So we go down to Heathrow. I meet him in the lounge and he's filming in the lounge. And I was like, we had some food. We walk to the plane. We scan the get the passports, we get on the plane and stuff, we're in business, take my shoes off, I'm sat there. Next minute, like 2 blokes come on the plane in like baggy suits. You know, like Americans don't wear fitted suits, they're like baggy, aren't they? Proper American. He's like, is it Mr. Wilson? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, can you follow me, please? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? He was American, so the US Customs have an office, I'm guessing, in Heathrow. So these guys were American. They were American officials.
Right.
Homeland Security in Heathrow, right?
Yeah.
So he takes me off the plane. He sits me down off the plane and he just goes, so what's your relationship with the Middle East? And I just went, I've been to Dubai a lot. He's like, not Dubai. He's like, Iraq. And I'm like, I don't have a relationship with Iraq. And he just went, right, well, we've got you leaving mate, they know everything. He's like, we've got you leaving Manchester at 6 p.m. We've got you landing into Istanbul at 7. I'm just making
Yeah.
Like, but just give you an example.
Yeah.
He's like, got this piece of paper. He's like, I've got you leaving Manchester at 6 p.m. I've got you landing into Istanbul at midnight. I've got you leaving Istanbul at 2 a.m. and I've got you landing into Baghdad at 7 a.m. He's like, can you tell me what you did in those 2 hours in Istanbul airport? I'm like, I think I went to Shake Shack. Then he's like, okay, right. He's like, well, when you're coming home, I've got you leaving Baghdad, going to Doha at this time. I've got you leaving Doha at this time, right? He's like, why did you go via Istanbul on the way in and Doha on the way back? I went, just because it was a better flight. He went, did you meet anybody in Doha? Mate, grilling me. They knew everything.
Were you nervous at this point?
Yeah, well, I don't know if nervous was the right
thing,
because I didn't do anything wrong, did I? But I was just like shocked. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, what is going on?
They've taken you off of the flight.
Yeah, they've taken me off the flight.
And then you're not allowed to fly?
No, they took my bag off the plane and I got escorted out the airport.
What?
Yeah.
What? So they just took you out?
No, you haven't heard the best bit, right? So the guy says to me, he says all of this, and I explain it. Then I'm like, mate, I'll show you my pictures. So I get my phone out and I'm like going to my Iraq photos, and there's like me in this police booth going... like this, right? Like thumbs up. And I'm showing him, and it's like the most touristy Iraq pictures you've ever seen, right? I like standing by Saddam Hussein's palace going... So then I showed him all that, and like from me speaking to him, I think he got the gist. I was legit, I mean? I wasn't, messing about.
Yeah.
So he goes to me, he was like, Mr. Wilson, just give me a minute. I just need to ring Washington, right? This is what he said. That's what he said.
That's cool.
I'm like, what the hell's going on here, right?
Yeah.
So then he walked off and I'm sitting there and Nico's messaging me going, mate, what's going on? I'm like, mate, I haven't got a clue. I don't know what's happening here. Anyway, next minute he comes back. He's like, Mr. Wilson, I'd like to advise you that you will not step foot on US soil today. That's what he said, word for word. And I just went, no problem. I was like, I didn't even know what to say. He just went, no problem. Then I said to him, I was like, is this going to be a problem for future visits? And he was like, listen, you can't step in until you have a meeting with the embassy, basically. So I was like, no problem. I said, well, what happens now? He says, we're removing your case off the plane. And you'll be escorted out the airport.
Did Nico still fly? Or?
Oh, Nico went. Nico went to Miami. And then they got my suitcase off the plane and literally escorted me out of the airport.
Fucking hell! And in a situation like that, you don't get reimbursed for your flights, do you?
No, well, to be fair, no. Do you know what? That was the most annoying thing ever. Like BA, I'm not a big fan of BA, but like. Yeah, I didn't. I lost it all. And then I'd rang up. Then when I was getting escorted out the airport, I was saying to the woman, can you sort my ticket out? And she's like, we don't sort it out at the airport. You've got to ring up. So I was like, no, because I know once I'm out the airport, it's never going to get sorted.
Yeah.
So then she was like, no, there's nothing we can do. COVID. We've shut our office here. I went back. I ring up. They're like, we've got no record. They'd marked the flight as a no-show, so I couldn't get it back.
Oh, my God.
I know. Crazy.
Did you ever have the meeting with the embassy?
Yeah, so I had a meeting with the embassy. It was really weird, actually. Brooklyn Beckham was like sat next to me waiting. He was like having an appointment, like the next one. I didn't say anything.
He'd just been to Iraq as well.
But no, I had a meeting with the embassy not that long ago, actually. I think it was last year. Yeah, it would have been mid last year, I think. And again, it was mad. I went into the meeting with the guy. He watched all my videos. He's like, I know exactly who you are, what you do. He said, it's all good. Here's a 10-year visa. So I was like, perfect. Thanks very much.
Wow. What a story that is, by the way.
Crazy.